anybody can win this match, and you can go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I love that.
Liam Crowley of Comic Book here with the wanted man himself, Mr. Nic Nemeth. Nick, thanks so much for taking the time to chat.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about TNA, and I have been for a while. But it's kind of cool that there was some buzz 6 months ago, and now even more so going into this big pay per view, which is really cool. I'm very happy for that company. They've worked hard, that roster. They've earned some respect, basically grassroots wise, starting over. And I couldn't be prouder of all of them. And I think this weekend is going to be something very special and another launching pad moment, I think, for TNA.
Yeah, Slammiversary is always a massive pay-per-view. It's the first TNA pay-per-view I attended live back in 2013, I want to say. AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle, Sting versus, I want
Beautiful.
to say, Nick Aldis in the main event. It's a historic main pay-per-view for TNA. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, I know you've been following wrestling for as long as you've been wrestling yourself. What's your first memory of TNA Slammiversary?
Man, Slammiversary, that's interesting. I don't like if someone goes, hey, what's your favorite album of Motley Crue? I'm like, I don't know. I like these songs. So like what first thing you said, I mean, Angle showing up, Angle coming from the ground, even that pay-per-view that like I don't know exact pay-per-view moments, but it's like Angle's whatever pay-per-view ended and like it went off the air and then the video for Kurt Angle coming soon was like a thing. And I lost my mind as a fan. Just like watching Kurt Angle headbutt Samoa Joe, watching Sting show up, friggin' Dusty Rhodes back in the day being in TNA, like Ken Shamrock, I think, won the first Battle Royal for when TNA got rebranded. There's so many special moments, and there's so many people that you associate, whether with TNA or even WWE, and you got Booker T and friggin' Scott Steiner, all those guys. They had really, if you watch like social media, you see all these clips of those guys, especially Steiner. He's got a couple good ones where it's whether it's the math or whatever, like all these special moments that we all just take for granted. It happened to be at TNA, which is kind of cool for the most part. So I don't have like I remember this pay per view in this match, but like I remember so many moments, and of course, my friend and partner the last couple years at WWE, Bobby Roode, he was their guy. Like the like unsung hero of holding that together when some people weren't around and some people were there. He was calling all the shots and making things happen and really doing it well. So it's that's kind of cool that I got to be in the ring with him for a while because for years I want to see Tommy Dreamer and someone else was like would tell Bobby, he goes, "You're the Nick of here," and he would tell me, "You're the Bobby of here," and it was like a nice compliment to see in person.
And on the topic of Bobby, obviously, you guys tagged together as the Dirty Dogs in WWE for quite some time. When you were first having those conversations with TNA before your big debut earlier this year, this past January, did you got the chance to chat with Bobby about just like what TNA was like? And beyond Bobby, were there any other TNA alum that you worked with that you happened to have conversations with?
First and foremost, Bobby, of course, because I'm in a group chat with him that we probably send about 600 texts throughout the day. I won't list all the people in there, but it was like back and forth, like, hey, is this the way to go? But the day one when I left WWE, day one, Scott Demore was like, let's get you here. What can I do? And I go, I'm not signing a long-term deal. I'm just getting out of a long-term relationship. I don't want to go get engaged. I go, everybody is, he had people like the roster texting me, Bobby Roode going, this is the place. Look at what they do behind the scenes. It's all set up. The blueprint is there. They have the backing. They have the brains. They have all these pieces. And they might just be missing one or two special pieces to make it, extra special. And I go, man, I love that. But I can't commit like legit 19 straight years in one company. And I go, I can't just leave and then I'm right back locked in. But I said, if I were to go anywhere, maybe we could do some dates or a couple of months or a year or something because I just don't want to get locked down just in case I don't like it. Or maybe you don't like me. Yeah, right. But like, you never know. And so he's on me to get here. And so many people, I'm running it by everybody. Kaz, Rude, people on the independents, anybody else, and several other people that don't need to be named. And they're just like, I'm telling you, just give it a shot. Check out their roster. Check out what they're doing behind the scenes. It's long-term booking, the storytelling, everything is there. This is a place where you can really make something extra special happen by you walking in that door. And I said, all right, everybody convinced me. Let's give it a go. And when I got there, I can't even pretend that I wasn't extra blown away. It's crazy to me because like at the time, I famously would say, I don't watch wrestling. I don't know. I don't watch whatever. And I was just kind of mad like the last 5-6 years of my life on TV being like, no entrance and getting beat up in 3 minutes. I go, that's what I was referring to and usually making a joke about. But getting to lock in and watch the shows and watch the performers and watch the people on Explosion that are getting ready to come to the roster, all these different pieces. And I go, man, there is hungry young talent, already locked in main event talent, and everything's coming together and long-term storylines are coming together. And I go, this is beautiful. I hope I can help somehow. So that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and you immediately found yourself in the main event scene. You obviously challenged Moose for the TNA World Title, and you got him once again, this time in a six-man match at Slammiversary. When I just look at the field of guys we got here, Moose, obviously the champion, Steve Macklin, Josh Alexander, Joe Hendry, who's on a crazy run, Frankie Kazarian, and yourself, being among an ensemble like that. There's nothing I love more in wrestling than just throwing like the entire main event scene into the title picture.
Yeah.
Do you feel that right now of like how stacked the TNA main event scene is?
It's pretty cool too, because I've been in matches where there's 6 or 8 guys and it's really down to 1 or 2 guys, and some guys are filler and some guys are already there and they're not going to be a part of it. With this one, you could walk down those names you just said and, oh yeah, Macklin can win the title. Oh yeah, Kaz can run with the strap. Oh yeah, Moose can beat us all again because he's Moose. So like, I'm not going to leave out Joe Hendry, which even I'm rooting for him, but I'm not going to let him win. But when I'm not out there, kid, good luck, but until then, I'm not rooting for people I'm in a match with. But there's all these pieces, and you could legitimately take any one of those names. Josh Alexander, I think, is one of the best going, and I can't wait to get in the ring with him. Any one of those people already have been or will be champ, and you don't go, oh, really? Like, it works for everybody. So I love the idea of this. Anybody can win. So you're just not just gonna be like, oh, Joe Henry's going to win because he has the most iTunes downloads. Like, that's not how it works. It's awesome that he's jumped to the main event. It's awesome that he's got all these eyes on us and NXT because of everything he's doing. It's beautiful. I love watching something. It reminds me of Zack Ryder in the old YouTube days. It is something extra special, but they're not going to kill him off on purpose. They're going to make sure he's got the right way to go and the people around him to make it every step of the way, an inch for it. So anybody can win this match and you can go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I love that.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of just, the crossovers between NXT, a lot of talent that pops on to NXT from TNA are like TNA quote unquote homegrown talent, the Jordan Graces of the world, the Joe Hendrys of the world. But Ash by Elegance, the former Dana Brooke, did pop by an NXT show a couple weeks ago. If that was something that was floated to you, are you open to popping back to your former home, or do you want to stay in TNA for now?
I feel like that's more for some up and comers and some people with some unfinished business. I think after 19 years, there's no unfinished business there at NXT for me. Now, if Randy Orton calls me out on Raw, okay, let's talk. But at the moment, that NXT back and forth and getting people to jump and not know who's going to be there, I love that there's a possibility that I could show up and everyone go, what the hell? And I also wonder, what music do we play and what name do we call me? But that's fine. But most importantly, I think it is for making our long-term talent, whether they're homegrown or not, getting their faces there and not only helping them with their numbers, but also getting more exposure for us when they come back to us. So I don't think I would be a priority, even as the TNA World Champion, but I would like to see some other people do some things there. I was already NXT champion. If I show up there, what am I going to do? Not be champion? I'm like, oh, cool. I did something that I didn't already do. And it's less like, so there can be a special moment. And there really can be a moment for me to show up there, and that would be awesome. At the moment, I think Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace, even Moose, that's awesome. I love that. Who knows who's going to show up? And I like when you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so few surprises in wrestling, and when they're big, they're extra special when you don't know they're going to happen.
Yeah, the Jordan Grace of it all. I was shocked. I was one of the few episodes of NXT I was able to catch live because I had cable in my hotel, which I don't have at home. And I was like, what is going on right now? You heard the sirens. It was crazy.
Isn't that great though? Like, you're like, what the hell? What? Like, that's one of the best parts of wrestling. And now we know that any Tuesday or any Thursday, it could be one of those people showing up at our place or showing up at theirs, and you don't know. And I really like that aspect of it because it makes me want to watch. It's like a cliffhanger. You got to watch next week to see what's happening. And I really hope with a special time right now in the business when everybody's kind of crushing it, every company, independents are selling out arenas. Like, I love that stuff. If you're a wrestling fan, it's the perfect time. Like, you don't need to waste your time arguing about your side, much like politics. Just holy crap, enjoy what's happening and just know that there's 500 awesome wrestlers out there. They're all being featured at the moment. Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, obviously, all the success that you had in WWE. My favorite moment
I
of
didn't
yours.
mention all the success. I
Well,
said,
you mentioned that you spent 19 years, and in
yeah,
those 19
time. There was a
years,
lot of time there.
a
Yeah.
lot of time, and there was a lot of success during that time. My favorite moment of yours, Survivor Series 2014. It was the last time I felt like Survivor Series, the title match had some stakes to it. And you were the Iron Man. You were the captain. You were the one who went out there and went the distance. I kind of had two reflective questions on that topic. For one, when did you find out about having that kind of role, and how did that impact putting the match together? And for two, when Sting comes out and you're just lying on the mat, what is going through your head during that time?
I'll answer the second question first because Seth and I were so used to wrestling each other so much, but we didn't really hang out too much. But we had to lay down next to each other for like 10 minutes and not move and not, So I'm just like, hey man, I think that Sting's coming out. Like it was like such a like we're fans first, you know what I mean? So like having that happen, like, well, we're just gotta chill out there and be like, oh, sick. So that part was really, really fun because one, we got to do a hell of a lot of stuff together. And especially the last couple of minutes, just Seth and I before Sting gets involved. No matter how you see that, no matter what I did the next day to totally undo everything we did that night, there was this beautiful moment of no matter who was in that position, the story was so good. Every step of the way, there was some kind of little underdog piece. You can put somebody else there. It might not be as beautiful and dramatic, but somebody in that spot would have like that story. And it's like, he almost there, almost got it. Now he got this one guy. Oh, can he get three more? What can you do? And he got one more guy and another guy. Oh, but now Triple H is involved. Now Stephanie's involved. Now there's a crooked ref. And it's like every step of the way was all this comeuppance for the bad guys to get their due and then to pay it off with Sting out of nowhere and the good guys winning and everything working out. So that story is, I think the match is around an hour long and it's so beautiful. And even like Big Show, we cover it. Like Big Show can punch us all in the face and win the whole damn thing himself. But the story is he's bought out and he leaves and he turns his back. There's so many good pieces of that if you just had like, here's the good guys and here's the bad guys, and you do the match and it comes down to 3-on-1 and 4-on-1, you're like, okay, it's cool underdog story. But when you piece all those things together, you're like, the Authority really is this strong. No one can take them out. And then you find a way to do it. It makes lasting impressions out of everyone. I don't think everyone would be talking about it to this day. If it was just like, oh, it was 5-on-5 and it was down to 4-1, 3-on-1 and Dolph won. And then the next day he did something dumb. And then that was it. Anyway, Roman comes back next week and you're like, okay, great. So it's so special because of the emotion. And I really think someone like me, I hate to say this because I'm a cocky guy, that I was an underdog a lot of times all through the years. So I really think I'm someone that played that well and really helped that story come together, I think.
Oh yeah, so many great moments throughout that match. A couple fun ones before we get out of here, Nick, because I know you're a very busy guy. You're a wanted man, after all. Cody made a list when he left WWE in 2016 of some check boxes he wanted to check off on the independents in companies like TNA. He had a stint there as well. Do you have a list in your mind of things you want to do in this current run, or are you just kind of enjoying it as it comes?
The most important, I didn't have a list of names and people. Now I do watch up and comers all over the place, whether they're on television or independents or places that I go. I absolutely do not have a list. My list in my head was, I was in this bubble for 19 years. Can I recreate being as good as I was perceived and told everyone I was out of that comfort zone in a different roster, in a business that is 20 years later, now totally different? Can I go to Japan, fight Tanahashi, and not just hang with him, prove that I could have been there 10 years ago on top? Can I make that happen? Can I go to TNA and fight against Josh Alexander for 90 minutes and go all the way through and go, yeah, I can back this all up? Because I had to prove it to myself. Because I go, I'm pretty good. That's being modest. But I go, I've only had this one roster. It's only with people that I've been in the ring with before. What can I do when I show up now? And they go, I don't know this guy. I've never been in the ring with Moose. I know he can do a bunch of cool stuff. You got 45 minutes with him and you don't get live events to make it work. You got to go out there and just have it happen. And sometimes you just get the one match and you want to make it the best. So I genuinely doubted myself because I didn't know. And so far, everything, there's been a couple hiccups here and there, but every step of the way of like, I had to modify myself going to AAA. I had to modify what I'm doing. I had to go to New Japan. I had to change my mindset but still be able to piece together 101 wrestling in your brain and then have it stand out as a big deal to them who, when I walked into that locker room, I don't think anyone was like, yay, it's so cool you're here. It's like, go prove yourself and then we'll let you know if it's okay. And that's exactly how I would want it. And hopefully I did that.
Yeah, absolutely. This past December, I had the chance to chat with your brother, Ryan Nemeth, in promotion of the Iron Claw. If you were to be in a wrestling biopic, who's a wrestler you would want to play?
I mean, Mr. Perfect or Flair would be great, but I'm sure Flair's going to have 10 movies in the next 20 years come out. I feel like I could really do that justice, but man, I don't know. I'd much rather think about casting someone to play me when I'm 20 years from now and I go, I did a nice little 40-year run. Who we got playing me? Oh, you're like, oh, Zac Efron's grandson. Okay, great. Let's do it. Lock him up. So I don't know. I really don't think about that at all. But the weird part is I really think I can do 15 more years because, knock on wood, somehow, some way, 19 and a half years with WWE, 19 and a half years, there was 3 or 4 weeks where I was unavailable. 3 or 4 weeks. There's not a person alive in any sport or business or even in Hollywood that has that record. There's no one at WWE now, 20 years ago, or Attitude Era, or all your favorites with all the best wins and the most moments at WrestleMania could not and will never touch that. So let's all remember that a little bit when we forget about it and kind of gloss over it just because I lost a bunch. Sorry, it's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder there.
No, I love it. And it's very close to perfection. And it's a perfect segue to my final question. PG version of F, Marry, Kill. We call it Start, Bench, Cut. I am perfection, here to show the world, wanted man.
Oh, you know what? I love them all. I like that we don't have one. Even though Scott Steiner's got Sirens. Love it. My dad's favorite wrestler. I'm not even in the top 10. That's fantastic. But I like that there can be different versions of it because even in NXT, we use it. We're like, hit the other version of my music. I'm going out. And it was like kind of a cool moment to have those because every one of those I heard, except for Wanted Man, with Downstate, I kind of helped put that together a little bit. I'm like, hey guys, I know this is out of your comfort zone, but I'm kind of a Steel Panther, Motley Crue guy. And they're like, oh, this is pretty kind of funny. They go, this is great. Our dad listens to the same music that you do. And I went, thank you for letting me know that. But they go, no, we totally get it. And it was like based on Rat and based on Steel Panther, but also some stuff that's actually real and something that I do. So I'm partial to the one that I had a little bit of say with, but having the option to have all those different themes is really freaking cool no matter what.
So we're going to start Wanted Man.
Okay, so start, bench, and then what's the other one?
Cut.
I don't want to cut any of them. Man, Perfection was great.
Especially the slower version. The one in between, because there was like, I am perfection, but then there was, I am perfection. Like,
wait,
2011.
It does. Okay, so it's I am perfection.
I'm no
Wanted Man
singer.
And what's the third one?
Here to show the world.
Here to show the world. Let's go. Let's cut Here to show the world. I like the I am perfection because I was a big perfect guy. Even like just Hennig, AWA with Bachwinkle and stuff. I love that stuff. And I got a bench Perfection. I am very partial to the Wanted Man, and I love Rat, and I love that. That's not just, hey, everybody call me the Wanted Man. It was like I like the Rat song mixed with the day I left WWE, my phone legitimately overheated from texts and phone calls. I had to turn it off. I couldn't send a text. That is not a brag. That is like the coolest thing in the world. Because I go, a lot of times you leave a company and that's it. You kind of slowly fall out of the group chat. You're not in contact as much. You don't know if anybody wants you. And the day I left WWE, my phone overheated till the next morning because of people wanting me to be at their company or on their show or whatever the hell it was. So that's a testament to hopefully my work, because it's not a brag. It's just, I couldn't believe that really happened. And I go, man, I'm pretty damn wanted around here, I guess. And I go, ooh, maybe we can make that really happen. And it genuinely came about that way. So that's organic. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Wanted Man's going to be your theme for the next 15 years if your track
maybe 20
is intact, maybe 20. Yeah. So we got to keep it starting. TNA Slammiversary is this July 20th. Obviously, Nic Nemeth going for the TNA World Championship in the main event. Nick, once again, thank you so much for the time.
You got it, man. But I'm telling you, this weekend is another big moment for TNA. And no matter who walks out of their champion, that card top to bottom is going to be awesome and special. I'm telling you right now.